Almost 5 years after Peter Jackson's fantasy trilogy seized the box office and all the mass media it could consume, the Lord of the Rings video games keep on coming. But Battle for Middle-earth 2 on the Xbox 360 is an impressive end to the series of a dozen or so games that have come out since the saga hit theaters. Not only is it the first next-gen RTS game, it sets a new standard for polished and intuitive console strategy titles. We previously reviewed the PC version of Battle for Middle-earth 2, including the story, unit commands, base building, and game options. All of these have been faithfully carried over to the 360, so we'll focus on the major differences. The biggest is control. It's technically impossible for a console RTS to compete with its PC counterpart. Using a mouse is so much faster and more direct than an analog stick will ever be, no matter how you assign the face buttons. But this makes what EA has done with Middle-earth on 360 stand out so much. It's the first time a best-selling PC RTS is manageable enough on a console to where you can actually have fun with it. The controls work for both PC players trying to make the transition to console, and console players trying to learn how to play an RTS game. The most complex command is only 3 buttons away. Most of them are combinations of the triggers and face buttons. Others are activated by hitting a button more than once. You can also select specific units and bookmark them for quick reference. But it's still slower, in a genre where speed can mean the difference between victory and defeat. Because of the sluggish pace, you can't select or divide troops as fast as you could on a PC, so your strategies may become simplified. There's no point in giving yourself too much to manage, when you could just play up your strength and numbers game and try to overwhelm the enemy. This can sometimes trample the strategy in real-time strategy. It makes you wonder if this control scheme would work even better on an RTS game built solely for consoles, and not one ported over from the PC. Unfortunately, even if you wanted to play with the keyboard and mouse, the Xbox doesn't support it in Battle for Middle-earth 2, even though it does work in other online 360 games.
Summon the cave troll from the fissure!
The control limitations carry over to the new Xbox Live multiplayer modes, but at least you'll know that the 1, 2, or 3 people you'll be playing against will have the same obstacles as you. Just make sure you unlock your heroes before you go online, as any army without one is going to get the short end of the staff every time. There are both good and evil campaigns with 8 missions each. They cover events not dramatized in the movie, but instantly recognizable by Tolkien fans. This subject matter isn't enough to create a story as epic in scale as the films, but it's still presented with the same grand style. The animation of each individual soldier is excellent, whether they're charging or training or just standing around. And Hugo Weaving's voiceover narration combined with Howard Shore's never-ending score tie everything together if you're still at least somewhat emotionally involved in the trilogy story. The visuals are disappointing though. The troops and buildings have a high level of detail, but up close, the environment textures can get bland and repetitive. And frame rate issues occur regularly as the units keep piling up. Dropped frames are a way of life in the RTS genre, but it's not completely out there to expect an elevated level of performance on a next-gen console, specifically the Xbox 360.
Sauron has influence on all things untamed.
EA should be commended for creating a console control scheme that works well in real-time strategy games. But that doesn't mean this is the best way to play Battle for Middle-earth, or an Xbox 360 game for that matter. The added achievements make it worthwhile for any PC owner who wants to bump up their gamer score, and any Xbox general can easily command an army from their couch, if they're passionate enough to take the battle to Middle-earth again.